Alright, so the edges are taped now. I'm just gonna give this guy another quick wipe down because my hands have been all over it at this point. Just lightly here. So now it's time to start working on the face of it and making sure that that literally everything that we don't want to get paint on is protected in some way. So we generally do that with tape, obviously. You could also do it by, using pieces of paper for large areas and then just taping around the edges of them. In an effort to keep it simple, I'm just going to use tape. So I've got, you can probably tell, my 3 types of tape here. I've got my nice thin, or relatively thin, it's not like fine line or anything, masking tape. I've got my bigger green painter's tape here, and then I've got this nice wide piece of transfer tape, which I'm going to use to cover the majority of the neck of the guitar. Because the neck is the last place I want a bunch of gloss paint going. Gloss necks are not fun. I don't like them. Make sure that stays on there properly. Anyway, it takes a few minutes to really go in and get everything protected properly with your tape. But do keep in mind, unless a surface is right against something, like for example the part of this guitar that is on the back right against the table is protected pretty much, you have to cover everything else with tape or paper or something. Paint goes everywhere, so anything that isn't protected, expect to get paint on it. And if you're not shooting paint directly at it, instead of getting a proper paint coat on it, you're going to get just overspray. And overspray does not look good. It does not feel smooth. It basically is just a rough mess of nonsense. If there's one thing you don't want on your guitar, it's nonsense. So make sure you're protecting the parts of it that you don't want sprayed. There we go, next done. Okay. What do I want for a pattern on here now? See, this is the hard part, trying to actually be creative. Okay, you need your tape, transfer tape if you want to do a bunch of, like a drawing on there, normal tape if you want to do a pattern like that, need a razor blade if you're going to be doing the drawing part, and something to draw with. So, pencil. I'm going to do a combination of patterning and drawing. So I'm going to put the camera somewhere now where it's going to be easier for you to see what the hell I'm actually doing, and then I'm going to do it. Let's get started. Well, there it is. So we've got our stripes and our weird outline thing. It's a testament to how poor I am at creativity related stuff. Anyway, I'm going to mix up some catalyzed clear coat now. It's a 2-to-1 instead of a 4-to-1 like you're accustomed to. Like you're accustomed to seeing me do, rather. It's pretty decent stuff, and it's considerably cheaper. You'll see that I've pulled off the masking around all the bevels, so all of the bevels are going to be gloss. Part of the reason for that is I think it's going to look cool. The other part is that's where your arm hits the most, so that's the part that tends to get polished up and gloss out anyway. So I'm going to make that gloss deliberately. Also right in this area, the stripe is there, which is going to be good because that's where the palm is for palm muting. That also tends to gloss out, so we're going to try to avoid that by having that area just gloss regardless. So you saw that I put in the stripes for both of these. I put in, the stripes that I was pulling out and the other ones. Normally I would just use one piece of tape and move it along to measure that out to not waste, but I wanted to be able to do my drawing nonsense on there with both pieces, so I put the whole thing on there. Anyway, let's get this sprayed and see how it looks. I will start mixing up my clear right now, and you guys can watch me do this. Yeah, let's get to it. So the reason I only use one coat, well, a couple reasons. One, I don't have anything that I need to bury back in there. It's a smooth matte finish already, so all I need to do is add something to gloss it up. And second, I want to minimize the amount of those ridges, like how thick they are when I pull this tape off. So less paint, smaller ridge. So that's why I've only got the one thin coat on there. This needs to dry now, probably overnight. If I could pull the tape off right now, I would, but I know I'd screw it up if I did that. So I'm gonna let it dry, and then when we come back, we will carefully peel this tape off. This stuff takes about 24 hours to harden fully, so I'm not gonna mess with it until then, mostly because I won't have time. And then I'll come in and see if pulling the tape off is gonna lift some of the other clear off. And if it looks like it's going to, then I'll carefully go around the edges with a razor blade to make sure that I've got this, nice and separated, so that I don't have a bridge of clear coat over top of the tape that's going to rip my entire graphic off. Shouldn't be an issue. It should stick well to the guitar because I scuffed it first and cleaned it, but better safe than sorry. So we'll come back and we'll get that done. Well, we're back in my garage now. I painted this guitar on Sunday, meaning to take the tape off on Monday, but things got a little wild at the old place of business, which was fun, but took up a lot of time. So it's now Saturday, and you guys are going to see this 2 days from now, which means I have to get this done now. But it also means that the clear coat has had much longer to harden than I had hoped and anticipated. So I may have to cut around this tape a little bit. We're going to start testing that theory. I'm going to start pulling some off, and we're going to see how this looks. Whatever, I'm excited. Let's get to it. I'm going to bring the camera in closer. I've got the guitar with the tape. I have a razor blade in case I do need to cut around the tape. And I've got some whiskey to steady my hands. So, everything I need to get this job done. Let's get to it. right, guys, so that's it. Paint job's done. That's what we ended up with. Now I can go ahead and put this thing back together. What do you think? Interesting? Cool combination of matte and gloss. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this one. It's a little different, not your average paint job, obviously. I'm pretty happy with it though. All right, let's get this guy assembled. Party time. So it's just a matter of putting things back together the way you took them apart. You put your washers on, your nuts, get those tightened up again, ever so gently. Doesn't have to be that gently. Pop your knobs back on, tighten them up with a tiny Allen key, which I have to grab. And thread your post back in. Now here's the thing, there may be some adjustment involved in putting your posts in. As you probably already know, you do have to set your guitar back up again after you do something like this. Sometimes it's easier to just take it in and get it set up. Sometimes you can do it yourself. That depends on you. Bridge back on. Don't forget to tighten your knobs. And last but not least, the first thing I took off, the strap button from the back. What was the first thing I took off? The strings. No, it would have been the strap button. And that's it, guys. All that's left is to string it up, set it up, and it's ready to go. So I hope you guys liked the guitar and you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up so that YouTube's more likely to recommend it to other people and they're more likely to see it. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And we will have more of this kind of stuff coming up soon. So stay tuned. I'll see you next time.